Hey everybody, this is In Case You Missed Psychology for Friday, January 8th. My God, it's Friday. It's been kind of a long week, but hey, man, we made it, and that's a great thing. So if you're watching this, that means that you didn't come to class today, and that's okay. I hope that you are well, and I hope those around you are doing well. And I hope that I hope you're taking some time to take in how amazing the trees look. I know that sounds super cheesy, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fog the way it was. Maybe it's just the temperature is perfect. I think the trees look cooler than they have looked in, I don't know, maybe my whole life. Okay. Take a minute, stare at a tree. All right. I know it sounds weird. Don't stand in the middle of the road while you do it, but I'm being serious. If you're a good photographer, man, now would be a great time to go out and take some pictures. I think they'd maybe win some prizes or something. So anyway, I'm going to run you guys through a quick video on the things that we did today if you weren't here. And please, a couple of reminders. First of all, if you owe me any late work, make sure you're getting those things in. The majority of you guys are doing really, really well. And even the people that aren't doing as well, it's just a matter of getting in some work. I have full faith that you'll get everything taken care of. I just don't wait till the last second. Don't make me nervous. Speaking of which, that last minute is going to be next Friday, a week from today at midnight. So you've got 7 days and 15 hours. Man, I'm exact right now to get in your stuff. Now, I don't know what that translates to when you're watching this, so don't quote me on that time. The sleeping and dreaming assignment is due today by midnight. I'll be working on those this weekend, so please make sure and get those in. I would love to read the things that you guys thought about Hank Green's video on sleep. The dream projects are due next Wednesday by midnight. Again, try to get those to me as promptly as possible. Those are going to take me a little bit to grade, and I want to be able to turn your final grades around promptly. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at one of the ways that you can divide up your night's sleep. Much like the brain where there were the two hemispheres and the four lobes, we're going to look at two ways that you can divide up sleep. We're going to look at REM sleep, REM and nREM, one division. And then we're going to look at the different stages in the sleep cycle, which we're going to do that on Monday. Okay. Obviously, if we get done early, any time that you have left, you can use as work time. All right. It's probably going to be the weekend, so you can use that to do whatever you're going to want to do. But if I forget to say this at the end, have a great weekend. Remember that next week is the last week of the quarter semester thing, and you got some things to wrap up for some people. So here we go. So as I said on the last slide, I love this thing. This dog is so cute. That's so smart. There are a number of different ways we can divide up sleep. We're going to talk about two. We're going to do one today and one on Monday, like I said. But there are way more ways that scientifically we can classify a night's sleep. They can look at different stages. They can look at different brain waves. They can look at REM versus nREM. They can look at hours. There's just tons of different ways to do things. But we obviously don't have time or God, the brain space. I'm not going to lie. I don't have the brain space right now to go through all of them. So I thought we'd go through the two most common ways that people talk about sleep. And that's going to be through REM and nREM, or rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement. We'll get into those in the next couple slides. And then on Monday, we'll talk about the sleep cycle. So then the sleep cycle is mostly going to be a diagram that we're going to look at when we get there. And so as we're talking about these, I need you to understand that today is going to be, it's going to seem like it stands alone. But when we talk about the sleep cycle on Monday, I'm also going to say, here's where REM sleep is happening. Here's where nREM sleep is happening. So it's critical to understand what we're doing right now in order to understand what we're going to do on Monday. So here we go, a little deeper into it. So one slide on REM, one slide on nREM. Cute pig. I don't know what this person is doing, is that pig could eat off person's hand in like a second. Anyway, REM sleep stands for rapid eye movement. Now, the reason it's named that is because REM sleep obviously has a lot of distinct characteristics, but probably the most obvious outward thing is that if you watch someone sleep, and I know that sounds super creepy, okay, if you watch someone sleep, when they enter the dream state or REM, one of the things that you will see is rapid eye movement where the eyes are going left to right, left to right, left to right, like this. Okay. They're in unison. They're not going fish-eyed or anything like that. You don't have one moving, or sorry, that was weird. One moving and then the other one. It doesn't work that way. So they're right to left, almost like they're trying to read something really fast. Okay. That's kind of the look it gives. Their eyes are closed. I mean, there are people who can sleep with their eyes partially open, but the eyes are closed and the eyes are revolving right, left, right, left. I've read someplace, I can't remember where it was I saw it. I think it was a pretty reputable source, that there are certain animals, like some breeds of dogs actually have slightly circular rapid eye movement. So I'm not 100% locked into that idea, but in humans, the rapid eye movement is left to right, or right to left, depending on, whichever way it starts first. That's probably the most distinct outward way of noticing it. But another way to look at REM sleep is it's dream sleep. This is when you have your vivid dreams, your storylines, maybe it is just randomly odd, but these are going to be your normal dreams, probably the ones that you wrote down in your dream journals if you remembered any, if you had any. You have about 4 to 6 rapid eye movement periods per evening. Now, when I say that, I'm saying, first of all, that's on average. The average person has 4 to 6. That is if you are getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep. That's about what you're going to have. Now, if you sleep less than that, you got to kind of divvy it up, and I'll explain to you how to do that in a second. If you're sleeping more than that, if you're getting like 12 hours of sleep, you might get one more REM period, but because of the length of REM periods, you might not. Okay. So if we look at the average 8-hour night sleep, like let's see, what did I get last night? I went to bed at 10. Oh, actually, I did get 8 hours of sleep last night, give or take a few minutes. I probably had 4 to 6 dream periods. Now, if you are going, well, I only slept 5 or I only slept 3, how many did I have? Basically, what you do is an REM period starts roughly every 90 minutes or hour and a half. So if you were to chart out a sleep cycle, okay, and which you'll be able to do on Monday, you could take a thing and go about every 90 minutes, I have a dream, or a dream starts. And so you could take it and figure it out. So if you slept 3 hours, you probably had 2. Okay. You might have gotten just barely into that second one, or you might have been just about ready to start it. Or, remember, I said yesterday, we're all a little bit different. Okay. We're not all the same. Thank goodness you're not all the same as me, because God, what a curse it would be to be like me. Anyway, so the thing about those two is there's a lot that happens during those things. I had said yesterday at one point that and I'll use a completely separate example. I think I talked about running cross country in one class. I think I talked about running a pacer in the other one. Let's say you had a dream that you were out canoeing. Okay, out canoeing with friends in the summer. It was a beautiful day. You and your friends had a picnic and you went out canoeing. And in real life, let's say you've done this and we'd hooked you to monitors. We'd hooked you to a thing to get your pulse oxygen. We'd hooked you to a thing to get your heart rate. We'd hooked you to a thing to get your brainwaves. So you're paddling, you're canoeing with a friend, friends in the back, you talk and you're enjoying life. Things are good. And we're monitoring all these things. Okay. And then, you guys are your age. So you splash your friend behind you and they splash you and somehow the canoe tips over. And there's a moment of panic. All right. If you had a dream that happened, your brain responses and your breathing and heart rate are going to be very similar. You might not even be able to tell the difference if I put those things next to each other. Are going to be very similar to each other because the brain is very much believing that a lot of these things are real. It's creating a very realistic world in dreams. And therefore, to go back to yesterday, if you're running a cross-country meet in real life or running a cross-country meet in the dream, your brain is simulating things exactly the same way. The only major difference is that your body is paralyzed. You don't move. The only things, and again, this is for most people, the only things that can move during REM sleep, during a dream sleep, are your eyes, obviously, back and forth, and your vocal cords. You can talk. You'll get people that'll be like, no, not the pony. I like the pony. Okay, and stuff like that. Or, I tipped the canoe over, I can't swim. All right. But you're not, if you're running the pacer in your dream, you're not in bed like, that's not happening. Now you're like, but my dog. Your dog is having little things in nREM that actually we'll talk about on the next slide. So again, to recap, your brain is extremely active. Your breathing and heart rate can increase, rise, and fall. Okay, be that of an active situation, but your body is in paralysis. Now you don't go like stiff as a board. You're just so relaxed that things aren't working with it. It's almost like the brain shuts off the motor cortex for voluntary movement. All right, you are very difficult to wake up during REM, and the reason for that, whoa, that was weird. There was a weird lag. The reason for that is your brain is convinced you're in another place. So if you're on a beach in the Bahamas with your toes in the sand, enjoying the sun, listening to music, thinking about, man, how perfect is my life, and wah, 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 your alarm clock goes off, your brain's like, what? Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever had this, if you wake up to music or if you wake up to an alarm sound, those things will become part of your dream somehow. I had a dream, a couple of years ago, and I was talking to someone, and we were having a conversation. We were like sitting at a table having a conversation about something, and my alarm went off while I was having the dream, and the person was like, oh, I went on this vacation, and wah, 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 and I was like, what the heck? And then in my dream, I was like, oh, it's my alarm, and I woke up. So you're really difficult to wake up because your brain is so actively involved in whatever it is you're doing. You're running the fitness gram pacer, you're running a cross country meet, you're canoeing with a friend, you are you're putting makeup on a pig. And so when someone goes, honey, it's time for school, or beep, beep, beep happens, you aren't as easy to wake up. Someone's shaking you, it's harder to wake you up during REM than it is during nREM. Okay. Last but not least, REM periods last from 5 minutes to about 40 minutes. Again, remember, give or take. Back. Remember how I said your body is paralyzed during nREM? There are people that have an REM sleep disorder where their body is not paralyzed. Sorry, I meant to throw that in 2 minutes ago and I didn't. So REM periods can last from 5 minutes to 40 minutes. And the way that it works is each REM period is longer than the one that came before it. So that first one is about 5 minutes. Your first dream of the night's ballpark average 5 minutes. Your last dream of the night gets to be 40 to 45. Now, I sometimes get asked, can REM period 1 be continued into REM period 2? Can you have like chapter 1 of a story, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5? Yeah, you can. But most often the dreams that you have, and this is through people writing things down, the dreams people have are unrelated. Now, the problem with that is during that first 5-minute dream, you might have a dream about playing with a pig's mouth. During the second dream, you might have a dream about canoeing. During the third dream, you might have a dream about going to the Bahamas. During the fourth dream, you might have a dream about hot air ballooning. Let's say you have 4 that night. And one's 5 minutes and one's, 10 minutes and then 20 minutes and then let's say 30 or 25 or something. When you wake up and you write down your dream and you talk about how you were in a pit with a pig and a hot air balloon going to the Bahamas, you're like, wow, that was really random. But what actually happened is you remembered a little bit of each dream, and so you mismatched them together. Okay. Now, I really want to say that REM is a really interesting time of sleep. And yes, the band, the alternative rock band, if you listen to older music with your parents, is named after this. But if you're interested in this, there's a lot of stuff out there. If you're still searching for a research paper topic, if you didn't remember any dreams, there's some really cool stuff out there about REM and that REM sleep disorder that you could do some research on. But REM gets longer as the night goes on. You roughly have 4 to 6. Body's paralyzed. You're difficult to wake up. Those are the big takeaways from this slide. Okay, the last slide of the day is on nREM, and you've got olive oil from, I don't know if you guys would even have ever seen a Popeye cartoon, sleepwalking, okay? You're asleep, but you're not in REM. So when you're asleep, you're either in REM or you're in nREM. There's nothing else. That's it, okay? And so if you're not dreaming, you're in non-rapid eye movement sleep, okay? Your brain is still active, okay? Even though it's more relaxed and you're getting these really long, slow waves, okay? Nice, easy, pointed at the top, easy waves. Your brain is still active. You can actually see have small, like almost like snippet dreams where you see something quick, you get a thought or an image or a sound, but they're usually not organized. Now there are some sleep disorders that we'll talk about probably gonna be Wednesday or Thursday, where there is this disorder where you can have an organized, like almost like a nightmarish type dream during NREM sleep. And so you might have little bursts of things. You might see a bunny, you might hear a fire truck, you might whatever. I think you guys get the idea. But they're not going to be organized stories. You're not going to get up and go to the park and then go to lunch with a friend and then go to work. It's not going to be that kind of thing. All right. Like I said, your brainwaves are slower, more relaxed. Deep sleep happens during this time period where their body gets the most restful sleep in the night. You have delta waves. We'll get into that on Monday. All right. One really key thing about non-rapid eye movement, you are not paralyzed during non-rapid eye movement. So this is where people are going to sleepwalk. This is where you get most of your sleep talking. People that go out and make a sandwich while they're asleep, yes, it's a thing. There's a thing that's like people have sleep sex. That's a thing too. But there's this other thing that we'll talk about next week called night terrors that can happen, or incubus attacks that can happen during this time period. Now, the thing that I need you to understand, last but not least, and I know I'm being shorter with NREM, but that's because we're going to talk about it a little bit more next time. NREM gets shorter as the night goes on. As dreams get longer, as rapid eye movement gets longer, obviously the takeaway is that non-rapid eye movement will get shorter. But if there's any major takeaways I want you to have from this slide, it's that if you're not in REM, you're in NREM. The brain is more relaxed, but little things can still happen, and you are not paralyzed. You can get up and move around. We'll talk about sleepwalking. We'll talk about sleep talking on another day. So if you've got questions about those things, I promise I will get to them. Have a great weekend. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. Okay. Get caught up. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you on Monday. Hope you're well. Bye-bye.